Hello and welcome to episode 209. For this video I'm just back down Aspen Lake again, just staying local for me fishing at the moment where everyone's busy. And for the first time ever really coming here, I've had to basically just fit in where I can. Obviously with what's going on in the world at the moment, loads of people are furlonged off of work. Night fishing was only officially still allowed just 6 days ago. So yeah, with that it's obvious that a lot of people were going to be wanting to come out fishing, and well, they're furlonged off of work. That's what they're doing. So at the moment, Aspen Lake is quite busy, and yeah, I've just had to fit in where I can for, yeah, like I said, the first time ever. We'll go more into the swim where I am kind of later in the blog. I've probably been here about an hour already, but once I got my swim, dumped off all my kit, basically I've just been sat here kind of watching the water for about an hour, just seeing if there were kind of basically any obvious spots or showing fish or, you know, fizzing, bobbling, etc. You know, of where I can put the rods once I do get fishing later on. I've got quite a good idea. Again, we'll go into that later on in the blog once I am actually fishing. But yeah, I don't know whether I'm positive or not about this swim. Like I said, well, I'll go into this swim later on, but yeah, anyway, right, let's get the bivvy up first because I need some shade. Today's actually meant to be the hottest day so far this year, so it is quite warm. Right, let's go fishing, guys. Right, that's it, guys. We are finally fishing. Again, it's quite sort of late in the, well, I say late in the day, mid-afternoon. Just gone at 3 o'clock, so me not liking this heat. I've really taken my time in getting set up. Had a really slow set up, getting the bivvy up and everything first, making sure base camp is organised and comfortable before I've done the rods. And the rods have literally gone out probably 15 minutes ago. I'll go into more detail where the rods are fishing and what rigs later on in the blog. But now the rods are out, I just want to sit back in the shade and chill because it is mega hot. Right, till something happens or until I decide to talk to you again later, guys. Catch you later. Oh, good evening, guys. And it's still quite early evening. I think it's only just coming up to 7 o'clock or so, but obviously since I told you I put the rods out, it's all been quiet so far. A couple of little bleeps here and there, but that could just be something as simple as the line settling properly and just giving the odd bleep on the bobbin as the line sinks. Certainly nothing's happened to make me jump up to my rods anyway, put it that way, guys. Anyway, guys, right, I'm going to concentrate on my barbecue so I don't burn my food. I'm going to leave it there for the rest of the day, guys. Obviously, if anything happens in the night, we'll get to see it, but if it doesn't, then next time I'll get the camera out to chat to you guys will be tomorrow. I'm not going to touch my rods anymore today because it's quite late in the afternoon when they went out, so they're good for the night. There's no need to rebait them or, you know, redo them just for the sake of redoing it. Oh, good morning, guys. And obviously by the lack of nighttime footage, nothing happened last night. and another warm day. It's literally only just turned 8 o'clock this morning, and I've already had to move into the shade to cool down because the sun is glaring right into my bivvy. I was cooking in there at 8 o'clock in the morning, so I've moved just around the corner here in the shade of the trees just to keep nice and cool. But yeah, I'm going to do my usual thing that I do here. I ain't going to touch the rods this morning until I need to wind in by the force of Mother Nature having to make me wind in. So yeah, yesterday evening I did have a bit of a half pickup right hand rod. Bobbin had a bit of a dance, pulled up tight, lifted the rod up, felt something on, felt tenchy, and within a few winds of the reel it was off, so I don't think it was a clean hookup. So anyway, it definitely didn't feel carpy, so I'm not worrying about it anyway, guys, put it that way. Don't know why you can see that, guys, but here's my rods. The fish has just gone cruising on by. So for the first time ever, guys, actually seen some fish cruising around on the surface. Mostly singles, couple in pairs. One little group of 3 went by earlier on, but yeah, first time in like just over a year of fishing here I've ever seen that happen. The fish, you never used to see them moving around, cruising on the surface, or really even show themselves much here, but yeah, it just goes to show that the shallowing up work that they've done in the last year or so on kind of this section that we're fishing, it is working. It is bringing the fish up in the water to the warmer layers, it's getting them moving around, so yeah, it's all looking very good for the future of this lake. Right guys, as you've just seen, I've just put one of my rods back out. That rod has gone out on a zig, about 4.5 foot zig. Just gonna fish on one rod just for the moment, just to see if it does anything, because for the first time practically ever here, we've actually seen fish up on and near the surface, just cruising up and down, probably about halfway out. So yeah, it just goes to show that all the shallowing up work that was done last year has worked. It's got the fish moving about now rather than holding up in deep pools like they used to do. And yeah, the fish have actually been visible today, so because they've been visible, like I said, zig's just gone out, like I said, about 4.5 foot. I'll just give the old zig a liner and the black foam that's in it just a bit of a boost before it went out, a little dip in the old Hinders beetle-in. And I'm just going to just see how it goes on one rod just for the moment. So I have got my floater rod with me just here behind me, so just going to relax for a little bit because I'm absolutely sweltering, guys. So just see what that lone zig does for the time being, and then I'll get another rod fishing in a minute. Just in front of this tree here this morning, about a rod length and a half out, you probably can't see it, but there's a tree stump from when the tree was trimmed back just below the water. I'd say a rod to rod length and a half off the tree stumps just below the surface. There was a lot of bobbling down there this morning, so I might just put one of the bottom bait rods back out just on that spot. It'll only need an underarm fling to get there, and just see if that spot does anything. And then obviously then the third rod, when I've got my energy back, will be the third rod, will be the floater rod. Right guys, so as you can probably see just down here, the rods aren't out at the moment, but that's because I've wound in my rods probably hour and a half ago and had a bit of a wander around the lake just to go and see if anyone else is catching, or not catching as the case may be. But there's not a lot of action going on at the moment, to be fair. I think this warm weather, the fish are just sunbathing. So while the rods were out, I thought I'd just take the opportunity to tell you about a little bit about this swim, as I said I was going to do in the intro. So this swim is quite new as a swim, hence why it all kind of looks a bit muddy and rough. So for those of you guys who are regular followers of my blogs, and especially my Aspen Lake diary videos that I've been filming here, more or less sort of this time last year I fished 2 swims down to the right, and back in that video all this water that you can see in front of me was almost more or less a separate pool, and there was a kind of a dam where they've been doing the work to shallow up. And if you can remember, like in episode 185, Aspen Lake Diaries episode 6, but in part of that video there was a small channel that kind of fed the swim with water, let the fish come in and out, and you might remember I chucked some bait along that channel to try and put a scent trail up that channel to get fish in the swim if there wasn't any swim. Well, basically this swim was where that dam was. So obviously a fairly nice new swim, and for when I edit this video I'll put in a little picture up here somewhere of a screenshot of that blog, just to give you a reminder. Sort of basically that was land with just a channel, so just to remind you guys what this swim used to be like. But basically what we got now, sort of to the right of me swim we got about 7 foot of water, to the left of my swim it's got a 7 foot of water just flat, and basically where the kind of the dam used to be, the remains of it are kind of still there, because when the digger come in and dug it all out, the digger could only reach so far down. So basically all the way from this side to the other side is a kind of now the remains of the dam. There's a raised plateau, and it's probably only about 5 foot deep out there now. It's a bit egg boxy as well. Obviously when the digger was digging it out, it hasn't dug it nice and flat, so it is a bit egg boxy out there, which I only just noticed this afternoon once I put the old Polaroids in, and I could see some of the lumps and bumps through the water like. So yeah, so pretty much this swim all the way across, probably about 1.5 rod lengths width, I suppose, is basically the remains of the dam and the bar all the way across. So this swim is a bit shallower than the water to the left and to the right of me, but yeah, that's about all I can tell you about this swim, guys. Right, sorry if I bored you shitless. Right, anyway, the rods aren't out, they're about to go back out. So basically, yesterday I put 2 rods straight out, so on the bar, and 1 rod down the margin. I'm going to have a small change when the rods go out this evening. I'm going to fish 1 rod still on the bar up the other end. The Euro end seems to be a bit flatter and a bit less egg boxy up that end than this end. I'm still going to keep a rod down the left hand margin, and this morning where I saw that fizzing, where you saw me drop that rig earlier on, I'm going to keep a rod down there because it's almost like the slope of this bank meets the slope of where the dam used to be, and it's almost, you know, sort of like a corner, which was pretty much about where the bobbling was. So I'm going to stick with leaving that rod down in that kind of corner drop off area when the rods go back out. Right, anyway, let's crack on and get that. The rigs are already ready, I've just got to bait them, so that's enough about this swim. Yeah, I know it's a bit boring, but I just thought for those of you who might be a smidge interested, I thought I'd tell you a few guys. Right guys, first rod's about to go out. I'll see, using the boat as I do here now. So I'm just going to quickly tell you what sort of baiting combination I'm doing this session. So first off, a little scoop of halved boilies. These are the Mystic Plum, little stash I kept in my shed at home after Hinders and that, so they were going to stop making them. What I've done with these Mystic Plum boilies, a couple of months ago I glugged them all up when they were still whole, and then the night before I come fishing I sat out in the garden for about 45 minutes, sat down with 10 kilos of boilies and put them all through the Ridge Monkey chopper to cut them all into halves. Once I've done all 10 kilos, I'll then put some more glug on them, so they've basically been double glugged now. So I'm going to put like basically the equivalent, I suppose, of about a handful of them boilie halves in the boat. I'm just going to top that up with about the same again in some flats pellets. And for this session I've also got some good old Jolly Green Giant. Let's just drain that water off. And that is pretty much my baiting combination for this session. Right, let's get the boat out, start fishing again. Alright, right hand rod's going to go out next, you know, where I just said, in this kind of like this corner. Obviously I don't need to use the bait boat for that spot, so I've just made up a little scoop of that kind of 3 bait combination, and just going to shovel that in first before the rod goes out. Oh look, someone's come for a free feed. Right, third rod is ready to go out. Rig's already in the boat along with the bait, and that the third rod, as I said earlier on, will go straight down the left hand side of my swim, parallel with the bank, maybe 4 rod lengths along, and then I'll probably drop the rig 6 to 8 foot out from the bank to allow for the slope of the bank and, you know, the rig being at the bottom of the drop off. Right, let's get that done. Right, blank's up the way, guys, and a nice fish to get the blank out the way. There we go, guys. 28 pounds 2 ounces, taken on the right hand rod on that little inside margin, like I said, rod length off of the bank. Not a bad way to get off the mark, eh? 28 pound 2. Oh, well made up, guys. Whew. Right, and guys, it's safe to say this rig is going to go back out on that same spot. And because I don't know how much of me bait that I put out has possibly been eaten by that fish or any fish, I'm just going to top up the spot again with another scoop of that 3 bait combo. Good morning, guys. And yeah, this session feels a little bit better now the blank's out the way. As you can probably tell from the skies above me head, it's a little bit more overcast this morning. There's a bit more of a wind blowing, so at the moment this session's definitely a lot cooler, so whether that will help the fishing situation, I don't know, but from a human point of view, it's definitely a lot more comfortable to be on the bank this morning anyway, so definitely not melting at the moment. But I do believe these clouds are due to scatter in a few hours time, so whether it'll get warm again later on, who knows. But anyway, on to the fishing. I'm going to do my normal thing of not touching the rods until Mother Nature forces me to have to wind in. But yeah, it just feels good now the blank's out the way anyway, so it's all good. So I did, after I put the fish back, I had a look back at the footage of the fish, and I think it does look a little bit dark, and unfortunately there's nothing I could do about that, because by the time I caught the fish yesterday evening, the sun was dropping behind, not below the horizon, but it'd gone beyond the trees which are behind me, so it didn't really give off enough light to show the kind of the fish in its full glory, shall we say. Well, anyway guys, like I said, the blank is out the way, and anything from now on is a bonus. So, right, I'm going to crack on, have me breakfast, and then I'll see you guys when I'm doing something a bit more carpy, not just waffling on. Right guys, rods has been in for about an hour or so while I had to go and answer the call of nature and what have you. But before the rods go back out, I'm going to show you the rig on how I caught that fish yesterday evening. If you watched my last video, the rig is almost the same, with just one kind of small subtle difference. So if you want to see the rig in its entirety, have a look at the last video, and then lead clip system, Gemini boom system, but this time I'm fishing, oh I don't know, can you see that guys, a D-rig, there we go, can you see that? And I fish it very similar to how I fish my Ronnie rig guys. So all the lead system, the Gemini boom with the Ronnie swivel attachment is all exactly the same, but instead of just using like a sleeve or a kicker to keep a bait on like you do on Ronnie rig, I've switched it. There's a bit of fluff on there, let's get rid of that. So I'm using the quarter D-rig kickers, and it works in like a very similar way. When I put the D-rig kicker onto the hook, first there's like a tapered bit on the end of the sleeve. To be able to fit it over the eye of the hook, you have to cut that off so it can fit over the eye of the hook, but more importantly the swivel. So yeah, so once you've cut that off, it works in exactly the same way. Just slide the sleeve part of the D-rig kicker back down over the swivel, and then you've got yourself basically a fluorocarbon D-rig. So you can switch between like Ronnie rigs and fluorocarbon D-rigs like this really quick, just by using a different way of mounting the hook. And because I'm using a wafter like you normally do on D-rigs, before the rig goes out I'm just simply sandwiching kind of the hook and the swivel kind of assembly in a bit of a PVA foam nugget to stop any tangles, just make sure the hook bait doesn't kind of go round and kind of catch the hook like that when it goes out. But that is the rig guys, so not too dissimilar from my Ronnie rigs, but with just a very small change you can turn it into like I say, a D-rig. Hook bait also is a Mystic Plum from Hinders. Hinders might still have a few of these in guys. They have actually stopped making them, but obviously I've got this pot left. Last time I was in Hinders, I know they still had a few on the shelf, so if you want any you'll have to get in quick. And because I use these Gemini tidy booms all the time now, I'm going to give one of you guys 2 packets of them. But you've got to do something first. It's a competition basically guys. So there you go guys, there's the 2 packets of Gemini tidy booms. They are the ones with the Ronnie rig quick link swivels attached to them. So if you want to win 2 packets of these Gemini tidy booms for Ronnie rigs, or D-rigs if you want to do it the way I do it, all you've got to do guys is tell me how many carp have I caught up to the end of this session from here, Aspen Lake. That's all you have to do. How many carp have I caught from Aspen Lake in my time here? Not this session, from the day I started here up to the end of this session. How many carp have I caught? One guess per person, guys. And these could be yours. I'll run the competition for about a week. So, that's it. Good luck. Get guessing. Alright guys, so that is the rods back out and fishing again now. So as we've seen, right hand rods stayed in the margins just under these little kind of branches to the right here. I mean, I've had a fish off that point, so why would I put it in any other spot? Middle rod's gone back out to far, well I say far bank, it's about 2 rod lengths off. But I found it kind of flatter on that bar, that far out, rather than closer in, so it's probably a little bit more better presented, shall we say, that far out rather than closer in. And then the left hand rod has gone to its marginal spot down behind me there, and dropped again probably about a foot from the bank. So probably about, with the timing of the day now, it's kind of mid-afternoon, so as per usual, unless anything happens on any of the rods, there's going to be no need to touch them now for the rest of the day tonight. Still putting in about the same amount of bait, just kind of like a scoop's worth of my 3 bait combo that I've been using. So, you know, not a lot of bait, just enough to entice the fish in, give them a little bit of a munch before they find me at bait. The weather is a little bit cooler today. I'll say a little bit cooler. As you can see now, we've got blue skies. You might be able to hear the wind kind of blowing the treetops behind the camera, but where we are in these swims, we're kind of quite sheltered from the wind. So there is a bit of a breeze, but we're not getting the full effect of the wind to cool me down, which is how I like it. But the air pressure is a bit lower, so in theory, the chances of getting more bites are a little bit better. Right, don't want to waffle on too much. I'll speak to you guys later on when there's something worthy to tell you. Right, good evening guys. So, just about to bed down shortly, but yeah, third and final night of this session, and I've tried to keep these kind of pointless updates to a minimum so it doesn't clog up the blog with boringness, but yeah, I just thought I'd do an evening update this evening because it is my final evening on the lake. It's been a really quiet day today. The conditions have been a lot more sort of carpy weather today than what it was yesterday, yet for some reason the lake seemed to fish better yesterday in what probably wasn't very good carpy conditions than it has today, when I don't think anything's come out today in probably sort of ideal carpy conditions. So make it out what you will, because I don't know what's going on. Oh, good morning guys. I said last night I'd probably see you in the morning, and indeed it is the morning. Obviously nothing happened last night. Weather's taken a bit of a turn for the worse. Blown quite a bit of a gale this morning. Might not look it on the water, but you know, when you look at the treetops and they're kind of bent over, and but luckily enough where we are on this side of the bank we got a nice kind of hedgerow and row of trees kind of behind our bivvies that kind of shelter this part of the swim, well, this part of the lake, so we're not really feeling much of the wind, but definitely a bit cooler today with the wind blowing. But anyway, enough about the weather. Only got a few hours of this session left. I'm not going to touch the rods unless I need to. We'll be starting a slow pack down of like non-essential items soon. But yeah, you know, I can't complain up to this point. I've had a decent fish, so it's not a blank, and even if you can walk away from this lake, even having one fish, that's the result. So anyway, I'm going to crack on and have me breakfast, guys, and maybe if I'm lucky the fish might be obliging to give me one more. But alright guys, that is it. That is the end of my session. I am all packed up and ready to go home. It's been another good session as far as I'm concerned. I've had a decent fish, and any time you can walk away from this complex with a fish under your belt is a good session in my book. Well, it should be in anyone's book, to be fair. But yeah, I am all packed up, literally. Say literally, the bivvy's still up, but it's only because we've had a bit of rain and to keep my gear dry. Waffle, waffle, waffle. But yeah, I am all done and dusted now. Everything else is packed away, so time to go home, have a shower, reorganise my kit, ready to get back out the day after tomorrow, when I'm going up to Merrington Fishery, where I'll be meeting my mate Lee and my mate Andy. So till then guys, tight lines.